if you're not from, that's the trick. If you're not from Durango and you want to know of a good place to stay when you come to Durango, stay where I'm staying. That's the Hampton Inn. They put me up for the few days that I'm here, and they're doing a real nice job of it. It was a beautiful place, so put that in your memory bank and deposit it. There was a fellow up at the bar here not long ago, sitting all by himself, and I happened to be standing there, and he said, "Hey, jackass, bring me a beer." So the bartender started to bring a beer over there, and I went over and I said, I don't think that's very respectful to talk to somebody like that. And the bartender looked at me and he said, "Oh, he always calls me that." The horses were all saddled and the packs were screwed down tight. 10 days of trail ahead of us through Rockies crowned in white. Now I'd saddled up the thoroughbred. An ornery kind of bay. I ignored his disposition because he had to earn his hay, but just before we headed out, why, that mean and grumpy cuss decided he would steal the show and raise a little fuss. I heard the slap of horse's hoof. My wife soared through the air. One moment she was by his side, the next she wasn't there. When I was sure my darling would survive that horse's toss, I took that thoroughbred out back to show him just who's boss. Well, he braced himself and trembled, expecting something bad, and I swung to the saddle bent on being mad. But before my little lesson even had a chance to start, he bogged his head and launched me, and then he came apart, and around the staging area he bucked and squealed and blew as if it were the stampede, and he'd show what he could do. Now, some might have said I bucked off and never made the count. I'd prefer to tell it as a premature dismount. Now the horses with their packs on seemed to enjoy the show, and heads tied to tails, they started a circle rodeo, and since I was already down flat upon my back, I leaped for pack horse lead shanks to try and pull some slack, and this is when I noticed when slip knots aren't just right, them horses keep on jerking and they pull you in the fight. They didn't seem to bother to listen to my begs, and our gear pitched in the panniers among 9 dozen eggs. Well, things they finally settled, every hair got back in place, and 9 days plus half that followed had nothing worse to face. In fact, the trip is now a memory of alpine circumstance. We're making plans for next time. But that thoroughbred's in France. Thank you. There you go, Bill.